Welcome to The Explainer. So glad you're joining us today because we're about to peel back the curtain and all those giant wall mirrors on an industry you probably interact with all the time. We're talking about the deeply surprising, totally counterintuitive economics behind commercial gyms. You know that feeling, right? That little twinge of guilt every single time that monthly charge hits your bank statement? You tell yourself, okay, next Monday is definitely the day I get back under the squat rack. But what if I told you the entire foundation of this massive industry is actually built on you staying exactly where you are? Let's dive in and uncover the hidden alpha of the membership float.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the perfect gym member, the margin stack illusion, the membership float, an operational deep dive, and finally, 2 ways to profit. All right, let's jump right in.
Seriously, I want you to ask yourself, why on earth do you keep paying $60 a month for a gym you haven't actually stepped foot in since, what, February? Now, you might think you're the customer the gym owner is desperately trying to keep happy. You figured they want you in there getting ripped, right? No way. In reality, you are the absolute most profitable asset on their balance sheet. Literally, your complete absence is exactly what makes the whole business viable.
Which brings us to Section 1, the perfect gym member. And trust me, the ideal customer is absolutely not who the fitness brochures want you to think it is.
It all comes down to this concept of unutilized capacity. That's basically the highly profitable gap between the massive crowd of people paying for the fantasy of getting fit and the tiny, tiny fraction who actually show up to claim the service. See, the ideal customer isn't the dedicated bodybuilder who's in there every day at 5 a.m. tossing around 2,000 pounds of iron. Honestly, that person is a massive financial liability. Just think about it. If every single member of a big commercial gym actually stuck to their fitness goals and showed up on a Monday night at 6 p.m., the business wouldn't just be a little crowded. It would instantly fail. The gym would physically and operationally collapse under the sheer weight of its own customer base. The hidden alpha, the secret sauce of this whole industry, is found entirely in this unutilized capacity.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, the margin stack illusion. Because if the core product isn't actually about getting you through the front door, what exactly are all those shiny weights for?
Now, all that gleaming physical space, the heavy dumbbell racks, the endless rows of treadmills, the spa-like locker rooms, that's all just what we call the surface product. It's essentially a massive distraction sitting at the very bottom of the margin stack. To really wrap our heads around this, think of a gym like a car dealership. Both of them rely entirely on a surface product. In the auto world, a dealership might do $83 million in revenue, but only net a measly $2,000 on the actual cars sitting on the lot. A gym operates on that exact same inversion. That beautiful professional-grade treadmill, it costs thousands of dollars. It's a huge capital expense that depreciates super fast, usually in just a 3 to 5 year window, kind of like a high-end photography workstation or a racing simulator. Plus, it needs a constant service schedule. So the equipment isn't the profit center. It's really just the entry ticket.
Now here's where things get really fascinating. Both of these industries actually make their real money in the service department. At a car lot, the service base is the absolute crown jewel. They'll pay a technician a base rate of $30 to $60 an hour and then turn around and mark that up to a customer rate of $150 to $250. Gyms copy this exact same playbook to a T. They basically use the basic gym membership as a cheap customer acquisition channel so they can upsell you on personal training. Your monthly membership, that just covers the rent. The personal training, with its massively high margins on labor, is what actually brings in the real profit.
And that brings us perfectly to Section 3, the membership float. So how on earth does an owner keep the lights on while waiting to sell you that training package?
Well, it turns out the commercial gym subscription model behaves almost exactly like a property and casualty insurance premium. Let's break down the membership float. It's basically a transaction where you pay a fixed amount right now in exchange for access to a service you might or might not use later. In the insurance world, the float is that giant pool of collected premiums that haven't been paid out as claims yet. In a gym, a claim is simply you, the member, actually walking through the front doors. Because the second you walk in, you're using their electricity, you're running their water, you're putting wear and tear on the gear, and you're taking up staff time. You are essentially cashing in your claim.
To actually survive this, gyms use what's called an insurance payer mix strategy. You know how insurance companies sometimes run combined ratios over 100%, meaning they literally lose money on the insurance itself but make it all back by investing the float? Gyms are playing the exact same statistical game. They meticulously calculate their member mix. They absolutely have to have a massive percentage of low utilization members. You know, the folks who pay every month but stay on the couch. That cash offsets the heavy resource drain of the high utilization members who are there every day. The gym is literally betting that across thousands of similar members, physical visits will just naturally stay low enough that the overhead doesn't eat up all that subscription revenue.
All right, let's get into Section 4, the operational deep dive. Because building this setup is a huge infrastructure gamble, remarkably similar to opening a bar or even a cat cafe.
We are talking $50,000 to $100,000. I really want to emphasize this massive, scary number. This is the financial hurdle a prospective gym owner has to clear before they even think about buying a single dumbbell or yoga mat. Building out a raw commercial shell is by far the biggest obstacle to even opening your doors.
So where exactly does all that cash go? Well, step 1, you need massive, extensive plumbing for locker rooms and showers. Step 2, you need highly specialized electrical capacity just to power endless rows of electronic cardio equipment. And step 3, this one is the real kicker, a massive industrial-grade HVAC upgrade. Think about it. Just like a cat cafe needs crazy separate air handling systems to keep the health department happy, a gym needs industrial-level ventilation to handle the intense heat and humidity of hundreds of people sweating in the same room. Honestly, if the HVAC system your landlord said was totally adequate can't actually handle the occupancy load on a packed Tuesday night, the entire business goes under.
Even after you've built all that out, the typical net margin for a gym is incredibly slim. We're talking maybe 10 to 15% profit, which, again, is a lot like owning a bar. The other 85% gets completely swallowed up by operating expenses. And labor is the biggest beast there. Front desk staff, cleaning crews, trainers. Now that already slim 15% margin, it vanishes instantly if natural churn throws off your member max. If too many of your couch potato members quit and your active roster suddenly tilts toward those utility-draining bodybuilders, your water and power bills go through the roof, your gear breaks down faster, and boom, your profit drops straight to zero.
Which brings us to our fifth and final section. 2 ways to profit. Given all these crazy operational hurdles and razor-thin margins, how do owners actually survive? Basically, there are 2 distinct paths. Option 1 is the high-volume budget club. You sink $300 to $500 up front, charge a rock-bottom entry price of $10 to $20 a month, and rely totally on volume. The hidden alpha here is, again, unutilized capacity. You might need 4,000 members just to break even, but your building literally only fits 400 people at a time. You can pull in $60,000 to $90,000 in profit, sure, but it demands an aggressive, never-ending marketing funnel to constantly replace the members who cancel. Then you have option 2, the high-touch boutique studio. Here, the upfront investment is a bit lower, maybe $100,000 to $200,000 for a smaller premium space. You charge a whopping $200 a month, but your active roster is strictly capped at around 150 people. Now, for that boutique studio model, the hidden alpha isn't volume at all. It's what we call the ancillary stack. This means pushing high-margin supplementary stuff, premium branded merchandise, specialized supplements, and super expensive private coaching. We are talking 60 to 80% gross margins on these items. It works a lot like Spotify driving revenue through exclusive podcast content, right? This model generates way more owner income per member, but the catch is they have to be in the trenches every single day, personally managing the clinical or creative quality of those workouts.
But here's the thing. Whether it's a massive high-volume budget club or an exclusive little boutique, these owners are tapping into a very specific, very powerful human emotion. The deep desire for health and the intense guilt of not having it are 2 of the most reliable drivers of consumer behavior out there. It brilliantly illustrates the real truth of this industry. They are selling a subscription to a version of yourself you haven't become yet. The actual price of the membership was never where the real money was hiding. It was literally just the entry ticket to get you in the door. You aren't really buying access to heavy metal objects, are you? You're buying the right to sleep at night without worrying that you've completely given up on getting in shape.
Pretty wild for an industry built almost entirely on selling you the right to stay home, right? So the next time you refuse to cancel that unused $60 membership because you swear you'll go next week, I want you to stop and ask yourself, what are you actually buying? Are you really buying gym access, or are you just buying peace of mind? If this explainer changed how you look at your next bank statement, keep your eyes peeled. There are so many other industries operating exactly like this, where the hidden economics are way stranger than the glossy brochures want you to know. Keep learning, keep questioning, and we'll see you in the next explainer.